Good afternoon, children. So today, first we are going to revise our first chapter in chemistry, that is states of matter, which we have studied in standard 6. Okay, that is states of matter. So in that chapter, we have studied about states of matter and particle theory and changing state, and we have discussed how the different phases of the changing state. Okay, so now we are going to revise what this particular session, that is solid, liquid and gas. Okay, so previous year we have discussed that state of matter is divided into three, that is solid, liquid and gas. ഓക്കെ സോ ഈ സെഷനിൽ നമ്മൾ ജസ്റ്റ് കഴിഞ്ഞ കൊല്ലം പഠിച്ചതിൻ്റെ ഒരു നമ്മളെന്താ ജസ്റ്റ് ഒരു റിവിഷൻ ആണ് ഇവിടെ വരുന്നത്. സോ നമ്മൾ ഒരു ഡീറ്റെയിൽഡ് ആയിട്ടില്ല, ഓൾറെഡി നമ്മൾ പഠിച്ച കാര്യമാണ്. സോ ജസ്റ്റ് ഒരു റിവിഷൻ ആണ്. Yesterday I told you if there is a new topic, it will be explained well and that particular PDF will be sent to you. Okay, I told you that is in our new syllabus, that is in 6th standard, some new topics are included. So for your 7th standard, that topic is very important. So in next 2 weeks after revision, next 2 weeks I will be explaining that topics which is new to you. So it will be very helpful for you because 7th standard is continuation of that particular part. Okay, so first thing is about solids. So we know states of matter is divided into three: solid, liquid and gas. So what is a solid? So we know that solid have a fixed shape and it has a fixed volume, and we know that it cannot be compressed or poured. So ഇത് കുറച്ച് ഫാസ്റ്റ് ആയിട്ടായിരിക്കും ഡിസ്കസ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ടാവുക because we have already studied this particular topic. So it's just a revision. Okay, solid have same shape, it has same volume, it cannot be compressed or poured. Next, about liquid, we know that liquid will take the shape of the container, but liquid can poured, liquid cannot be compressed. Can we compress water? We cannot compress water, and we know that liquid take up the amount of space whatever shape their container. So it will change the shape according to the container and the volume will not change. If it is 50 centimeter cube of water, means whatever shape of the container it will be, the volume will be same, volume will not change. So in liquid it will take the shape of the container, it can be poured, it cannot be compressed, it will take up the same amount of space whatever shape their container. Next is about gases. Gases flow like liquid, they can be poured, they can fill any closed container. Gases are easy to compress. So the main property which differ from liquid and solid is gas can be compressed. Okay, so gas can be compressed, the volume of gas can change, gas weigh very little, and generally we cannot feel or see gas, but we can sometimes smell them, so we can feel that air moving on the face. So the main difference in the property of gas from that is different from solid and liquid is that gas can be compressed and its volume can change. Okay, this two property is differ from what solid and liquid. Okay, in liquid and gas we can see one property is similar, that both liquid and gas can be poured. Okay, both liquid and gas can be poured. Okay, so these and all we have already studied last year, so just we are revising them. And we have studied about particle theory also. There is a brief explanation about particles, why solid, liquid and gases following these properties. Adana nammal last year nokkindayirunathu. So that in that topic we know that particle theory, ഒരു തിയറി അറ്റൈൻ ചെയ്യണമെങ്കിൽ first they will form a hypothesis. Okay, that is they will put some ideas, they will give some suggestions, So what they will do is they will give some suggestion for an example and explanation, and this hypothesis can be tested by carrying out different investigation. So they will give us some suggestion, and that will be tested, and after that what happens is, when a hypothesis has been tested and if it is widely accepted, it be validated by other scientists, it is called a theory. So we have already learned about particle theory. So namka last year we have studied this page. You can see in your textbook, right? So that is in page numbers from 70. We can see last year's textbook. We can see this particular figure with same sentences, right? So either present 6th standard in the textbook ആണ്. So നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഏതൊക്കെ ടോപ്പിക് പുതിയതായിട്ടുണ്ടോ അത് ജസ്റ്റ് ഒന്ന് ഇൻക്ലൂഡ് ചെയ്തേ ഉള്ളൂ ഈ കാര്യത്തിൽ. ഇവിടെ ഒന്നുമില്ല. So new topic ആണെങ്കിൽ I will send you the PDF. Okay. So so in particle theory we know that in solid particles are arranged in a fixed pattern, right? They are arranged in a fixed pattern, and particles are held together strongly and tightly packed together. Why they are arranged in a fixed pattern means they are having a strong force of attraction and they cannot move. So that's the reason why the particles that is solid cannot be compressed, okay? Because they have an orderly pattern, they have a strong force of attraction, and there is no space to move. So they are tightly packed. So that's the reason they cannot compress. This is why solid have a fixed shape, and here the only movement the solid can that is possible is they can only vibrate in their fixed position. Clear? So in solid, particles are arranged in a fixed pattern. The particles are held together and tightly packed, and this is why solids have what? Fixed shape. Okay, and they can vibrate, and but they stay in the same place. So what you have to do is you just revise. You can take your old textbook and just read this pages. That is, I think, page number 70, 72, 75. That particular pages in last year textbook. Okay. So next is about liquid. In liquid, particles touch each other and they are held together weakly. In solids, there is a strong force of attraction. In liquid, they are held together very weakly, and the particles can slide over one another. Here, in solid, they can only vibrate. Here, liquid, they can slide over one another, and these particles can move past one another, but they still touch each other. They still touch each other. That's the reason why even now they are touching each other. That's the reason why they are liquid also they cannot be compressed. Okay, so because they are touching each other, so they cannot be compressed. Clear? And liquid can change shape because they can flow. That's the reason why they it can be poured, or why it can be it can change its shape means because here the particles can slide past one another. They can move one another. Okay. So next, in gas, we can see the particle do not touch each other. They have a high freedom of movement and no force of attraction. So here strong force of attraction, here weak force of attraction, here there is no force of attraction. They are long way apart, and the particles spread out themselves, and particles will fill the space they are in, and gases can change the shape and they can change volume too. So ഇതൊക്കെയാണ് നമ്മുടെ particle theory എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. Here they have a fixed pattern and a strong force of attraction. They can only vibrate. Here there is no orderly arrangement. They can move one another. Weak force of attraction. Here particles are not touching each other. They can move in any direction. They are spread out. So these are the properties of solid, liquids and gas which explained in a particle theory. Clear? So next we have discussed about its properties. Okay, so now we are going to discuss about the properties in detail using this particle theory. Okay, so solids, the particles in solids are very close together. This makes it difficult for the volume of a solid to be smaller. That's the reason why it cannot change its volume, and solid have a fixed shape because attractive forces hold together, and these forces stop particles from moving around, and the particles can only Vibrate. They can only what? Vibrate. This means that the solid cannot flow. Okay, so we already discussed the കാര്യങ്ങളാണ്. They are just explaining the particles in a solid are very closely packed and they have a fixed shape. Why they have a fixed shape means because they have a strong force of attraction which hold particles together. Okay, അതായത് അതിന്റെ പാർട്ടിക്കിൾസിനെയൊക്കെ ഒരുമിച്ച് സ്ട്രോങ് ആയിട്ട് ഹോൾഡ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട് and they can only vibrate. That's the reason here they cannot move. That's the reason solid cannot flow. Next is about liquid. The volume of a liquid cannot be changed. The particles are close together. Why volume cannot be changed? Because they are very close together and cannot be compressed also. Why means the particles touch each other but they can move past each other. Here the particle cannot be compressed because they are touching each other. That's the reason liquid cannot be compressed. And why they can be poured means they are moving past one another. Okay, why they can flow means liquid na flow അല്ലെങ്കിൽ pour ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുന്നതിന്റെ reason because they can move past one another. Particles slide over ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. So that's the reason why they can move past one another. The attractive forces between these particles are weak enough to allow them to move but strong enough to hold together. Okay, the attractive forces is weak enough to allow them to move but strong enough to hold. That's the reason why it cannot be compressed or we cannot change its volume. Next is about gas. Particles in a gas are long way apart, so they can move quickly in all directions and particles move easily because there are no attractive force between them. Okay, so this means that gas has no fixed shape or volume because they are free to move. They can move in any direction. There is no force of attraction. So when you compress a gas, a particle move more closer and they will take less space. Okay, so if there is no particle means that particular area is known as vacuum. Vacuum means it contains nothing. Okay, so this may be a new for you. What is a vacuum? A vacuum is, you may note it down in your record. What is a vacuum? A space where there no particle at all is called a vacuum. What is a vacuum? A space where there are no particles. Oru particles illengil we call it as what? It is known as vacuum. A vacuum contains nothing. Okay, what is vacuum? A space where there are no particles at all. No particles at all is called what? Vacuum. A vacuum contains nothing. Okay. Next, we have discussed about changes or changing state. How solid will change to liquid, how it will change to gas. That is, if solid will melt to form a liquid, liquid will boil to form what? A gas. When solid melt at its melting point, it will change to liquid, and when liquid boil at its boiling point, it will change to gas. Okay, so the temperature at which solid melt is called melting point. So what is a melting point? The temperature at which solid melt is called melting point. ഇതൊക്കെ നമ്മൾ last year പഠിച്ചതാണ്. It's in your textbook, so please go through that. Once again I will repeat the page numbers. That is standard 6, page number 68, 70, 72, 75. Our page numbers are we have already studied this particular portion, so just revision on. Okay, so what is melting point? The temperature at which solid melt is called melting point. Okay, and we know that water gradually disappear as it changes to water vapor, and this process is called what? Evaporation. So here it is changing from water to water vapor, that is liquid to gas. Okay, so the warmer the water, the more quickly it evaporates. So here if we heat water until its temperature reaches 100 degrees Celsius, it will boil and all the water vapor will readily change to steam, and the steam is water heated to the boiling point and it turned to gas, and this point, that is 100 degrees Celsius, is known as boiling point. Okay, so melting point is related from when solid is changed to liquid. Boiling point is related when liquid is changed to gas. Okay, so when a liquid boil at its boiling point, it is changed to what? So here we can see that is if water vapor or steam touches something cold, it touches it condenses and changes back to liquid water. There is a process of changing from solid to liquid to gas, and reverse also, that is from gas to liquid and liquid to solid also. So here it's condensation means from gas to liquid. Okay, so from gas to liquid. So here it changed back to liquid water, and this is called what? Condensation. So like that, when liquid change to solid, it is a process here taking place is what? Freezing. Okay, so if we put liquid water in freezer, it freezes and comes and becomes ice. So these are the changes, what changes of state. So here when ice melt, that is when solid melt, it will be converted to liquid, and when liquid is boiled, it is converted to gas. When gas is condensed, it is changed to liquid. When it is freezed, it is changed to solid. Clear? So next we have studied how to measure volume. That is, to measure volume, we will be using a measuring cylinder, and we have studied that while measuring a measuring cylinder, always our eye level should be perpendicular like this, and we should use the lower meniscus for the measurement. Clear? So the liquid will be forms a curve at the top, and this is called what? Meniscus. And always our eye level should be perpendicular, and we should measure the lower meniscus, that is bottom of the meniscus. Okay, so to do this, our eye level should be perpendicular to the meniscus. Okay, so this we have already studied. Like that, to measure the temperature, we are using the thermometer, and we know that in the thermometer there is a liquid which will expand or contract according to the temperature. Okay, so when we measure temperature, will be using a thermometer. The liquid inside the thermometer expand as it gets hotter, so it rises up. Okay, and inside the thermometer, and we can read the temperature from the scale. Okay, so make sure our eye level with the top of the liquid in the thermometer. Here we have used the bottom meniscus, that is lower meniscus, but here we are using the upper level. Okay, so that is with the top of the meniscus. Why means here it is the mercury. Here inside the thermometer, the liquid is mercury, which is denser. So here we have to look the upper meniscus. Okay, നമുക്ക് top meniscus ആണ് എടുക്കേണ്ടത്. വേറെ എല്ലാ ലിക്വിഡിനും മെഷർ ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ we have to take the lower meniscus, but in the case of mercury we have to take the upper meniscus. Clear? We have to take the upper meniscus. So while measuring thermometer, we have to take the upper meniscus. Okay, so why means here we are using the what type of liquid? Mercury. അതായത് നമ്മൾ എല്ലാ ലിക്വിഡിനും നമുക്ക് ലോവർ മെനിസ്കസ് എടുക്കാം, ബട്ട് മെർക്കുറി ആണെങ്കിൽ മാത്രം we have to take the upper meniscus. അതായത് നമുക്ക് ഒരു ഇങ്ങനെ രണ്ട് കർവ് ആയിട്ടുണ്ടാവും. നമ്മൾ ലാസ്റ്റ് ഇയർ ഞാൻ ക്ലിയർ ആയിട്ട് പഠിപ്പിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. സോ ഇൻ സച്ച് കേസസ് we have to take the upper meniscus. For mercury, upper meniscus. For all other liquid, we have to take the lower meniscus. So ഇവിടെ thermometer we have to take the upper meniscus, scale upper meniscus എടുക്കുക. So here we can measure the reading as what? Here it is 20, 25. Here it is about 28 അല്ലെ 28 ആണ്, and here it is 50. So the reading is how much? 54 അല്ലെ 55 എത്തിയിട്ടില്ല, just 54 ആണ്. Here it is 80, 81, 82. Okay, each section is divided to 10 divisions, so നമുക്ക് easy ആയിട്ട് അത് കിട്ടും. So like that, thermometer also we can what we can find the reading here, it is 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Here it is 24. ഇവിടെ നമുക്ക് അങ്ങനെ അപ്പർ മിനിസ്റ്റേഴ്സ് ക്ലിയർ ആയി നോക്കേണ്ട ആവശ്യമൊന്നും വരുന്നില്ല, ബിക്കോസ് അത് അത്ര എക്സ്പാൻഡ് ആയിട്ടോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരുപാട് എന്താ മാക്രോസ്കോപ്പിക് ലെവലിലൊന്നും അല്ല നിങ്ങൾക്ക് കാണുന്നത്. സോ ജസ്റ്റ് വോട്ട് മെഷർ ദ റീഡിങ്. ഹിയർ ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് 15 അല്ലെ, ഈ റെഡ് റീഡിങ് എവിടെയാ നിൽക്കുന്നത്? Here it is 15, here it is 20, 29, 30 എത്തിയിട്ടില്ല, ഇനി ജസ്റ്റും കൂടെ എത്താനുണ്ട്. So here it is 29 degrees Celsius അല്ലേ. A volume is measured in meter cube or centimeter cube. What temperature is measured in degrees Celsius or Kelvin or Fahrenheit. നമ്മൾ പഠിച്ചത് ഡിഗ്രി സെൽഷ്യസിലാണ്. Okay. So next we have discussed about the explanation of changes of state, that is heating solids. How particle theory is explained in what changes of state. Okay, first is heating solids. When solids are heated, they expand. That is, we know that in solids particles are tightly packed, okay, closely packed. So what happens is when it is heated, they will be vibrate more faster, and that force of attraction will be reduced. Okay, so here we can see that particles in solids are arranged in a fixed pattern, and particles are held together strongly and tightly packed. So particles in solid vibrate, and when solid is heated, the heat energy is transferred to particles in the solid. Okay, so here when they are heated, it is transferred to the particles in the solid. The more energy they have, more they will vibrate, and this force of attraction will be weakened. Okay, so they take up more space, and the particles are still held in position by the attractive forces between them. But a force ചെറുതായിട്ടൊന്ന് കുറയും, കണ്ടിന്യൂസ് ആയിട്ട് ഇങ്ങനെ ഒരു വൈബ്രേഷൻ കൂടുന്തോറും ജസ്റ്റ് ഒന്ന് ആ ഫോഴ്സ് കുറയും. Okay, so when solids are heated more strongly, what happens is they will melt and they become liquid. We know that, and the particles in solid vibrate more and more as heat energy is transferred to them. Okay, so particles in solids will be vibrate more and more, and what happens, the attractive forces between them are no longer strong enough to hold them in a fixed pattern. അതാണ് ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞത്, പാർട്ടിക്കിൾസിന്റെ ആ ഒരു ഫോഴ്സ് കുറയും, and it will be no longer it will have energy to hold in a fixed pattern, and particle can slide past one another, and then they can now move or just vibrate. So the particle still strong enough for the particle to stay in touch with one another അല്ലെ. ലിക്വിഡ് അറേഞ്ച്മെന്റ് നോക്കുകയാണെങ്കിലും they are just sliding over one another. Okay, so the particle, the more liquid is heated, the more energy is transferred to the particle, and more the particle will vibrate and move. So ഈ അറേഞ്ച്മെന്റും സെഷൻസ് ഒക്കെ നിങ്ങൾ ലാസ്റ്റ് ഇയർ പഠിച്ച കാര്യങ്ങളാണ് അല്ലെ, പഠിച്ചതാണ് അല്ലെ. So this is about melting solids. Next is about boiling liquids. So when liquids are heated like solid, it will evaporate and boil. So the particles in liquid touch each other, but they have a weak force of attraction. They are held together weakly, so the particle move more as heat energy is transferred to them. So the particle have energy to break this weak attractive forces holding them together, and these particles will move freely and escape as gas particles. So same application തന്നെയാണ്, ഹീറ്റ് കൊടുക്കുന്തോറും കൂടുതൽ എനർജിയിൽ അത് മൂവ് ചെയ്യും. സോ മെല്ലെ ആ ഫോഴ്സ് ഓഫ് അട്രാക്ഷൻ കുറയും. സോ ആ ഒരു നമുക്കറിയാം ലിക്വിഡ് പാർട്ടിക്കിൾസ് ടച്ച് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ടാവും. സോ ആഫ്റ്റർ സം ടൈംസ് അതിന്റെ എനർജി മൊത്തം മെല്ലെ മെല്ലെ കുറഞ്ഞ് they will be far apart. Okay, so this is about boiling liquids. So next, cooling gases. Particles in gas are free to move anywhere and spread out, so there are no force holding them. Okay, so when gas get cooler, what happens is it condenses to form liquid alle, liquid avanana noka. So what happens is when gas particles reach a cold surface, Some of the heat energy from the particle transport to the surface. നമുക്കറിയാം പാർട്ടിക്കിൾസ് മൂവ് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ അതിന് ഒരുപാട് എനർജി ഉണ്ടാവും, അതുകൊണ്ടാണ് അത് റാൻഡം ആയിട്ട് മൂവ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. സോ ഇവിടെ what happens is when energy is transport to the surface, they will be the particle will be moving very less and get close together, and once they are close together means they are touching each other, so slowly they are shifting to the shape of what liquid. Okay, liquid in the particle arrangement lote mella adu shift out. Okay, so what happens is here when they touch the cold surface, what happens, the energy is shifted to that particular surface, so the particle will be moving very less and they get close together and they form a liquid. Clear? So next is about freezing liquids. When a liquid freeze, it's become what? Solid. So particles in a liquid can move and flow past each other. So as heat energy is transferred from particles to the surrounding, like here, so what happens, the particle will be moving very slowly. Energy porthotu pombo, it need more energy to vibrate more and more. So what happens here, energy is moving out, so it doesn't have any energy to vibrate more faster. So what here it will be after energy, when energy is transferred to the surrounding, what happens is the particle will be moving very slowly and the liquid get cooler. Okay, the cooler the liquid, less energy the particle will be having, and the less energy the particle have, less able to move past one another, and thus it will be taking the shape of a solid. So eventually the particle have little energy, they vibrate and they become arranged in a fixed pattern to form what? A solid. So here this is about the arrangement, how it is changing to solid, to liquid, to gas, and how the particles are behaved. So idakke nammal last year padichana. Please go through your textbook. This page number, last year textbook page number 75 clear right explain cheyidittunde. So this and all we have already studied. So നമ്മുടെ ഫസ്റ്റ് റിവിഷൻ സ്റ്റേറ്റ്സ് ഓഫ് മാറ്ററിന്റെ റിവിഷൻ കഴിഞ്ഞു. ഇതിൽ ഇൻക്ലൂഡഡ് ആയുള്ള ഭാഗം ആഫ്റ്റർ റിവിഷൻ ഐ വിൽ എക്സ്പ്ലെയിൻ. ഓക്കെ, ഐ ഹോപ്പ് ദിസ് ടോപ്പിക് ഇസ് ക്ലിയർ ഫോർ യു. ഇഫ് യു ഹാവ് എനി ഡൗട്ട് പ്ലീസ് മെസ്സേജ് മീ ചിൽഡ്രൻ. സോ പ്ലീസ് ഗോ ത്രൂ യുവർ ചാപ്റ്റർ, അതായത് നമ്മൾ ഓൾറെഡി 6th സ്റ്റാൻഡേർഡിൽ പഠിച്ച സ്റ്റേറ്റ്സ് ഓഫ് മാറ്റർ എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ചാപ്റ്റർ ഒന്ന് റിവൈസ് ചെയ്യാം. Please go through a record and try to recollect your question and answers also. നിങ്ങൾ റെക്കോർഡിൽ എഴുതിയ question and answers കൂടെ ഒന്ന് വായിച്ചു നോക്കുക. Please read the question and answers in your record book and go through that, even end of unit questions also. Okay, thank you children.